Hi guys, Demon Ferret here, or rather Da-Xia the Panda, and this is my official review for my panda suit from Just For Us, or Woozle's Wonders as they were known when I first commissioned them. Now, I'm only having one hand on because I'm using Fursuit reviews format for the most part to do this review, and I just can't flip pages with pause on. It doesn't work. So, let's get into it. So first thing, maker information, as I said, Just For Us or Woozle's Wonders. Relationship with the maker, when I first commissioned them, I didn't know them at all. I didn't know who they were. They had approached me when I had to change the maker that I wanted from City Mutt, because City Mutt had a backup in their queue and they weren't going to be open in the time that I wanted it. So I went on Facebook, sent out a public post saying, hey, I need a new maker, and they jumped on the post. I looked at their work, I liked what they did, and they were open then and there. So that worked out for me just fine. As I said, the character name is Da-Xia. She's a panda. I wanted a semi-toony partial, which means a realistic suit with some toony aspects to it. As you can see, that was successfully done. Although there were some tweaks and changes along the way that I'll get into in a moment. So the price that I paid, I know not everyone's comfortable talking about this with the stuff they commission. I paid $1,000 even for this suit. I got her on discount because Just For Us wanted to make a panda suit and it was on a discount species list, which I've never seen a maker do before. It was interesting. So I got her a little bit of a discount for $1,000 even, which for the quality I got, definitely worth it. Fursuit Reviews asked this, if you have any prior experience with fursuits. I own 9. Yes, I do. And I also make them myself. So I have experience with making suits. I have a lot of experience wearing suits, and I've been wearing fursuits since late 2012. But I will note this, it will be relevant later. I have never owned a suit, and I have maybe worn a suit once or twice that has tear duct vision like this suit does. As far as the date I commissioned it, I wouldn't be able to tell you. I'd have to go back and look at the PayPal dates, because I paid for her in full on the spot. I will say though, it was sometime in fall or winter of 2016, and I got her in July of this year, so I've been waiting almost 2 years to get this suit. Because I waited almost 2 years to get the suit, I did not get her at the expected finish date, and I'll be going into that later. And also, any problems I have with the suit, I did discuss with Just For Us, and there have been a few issues here and there, and I'll get into them as I get to them. Okay, so let's talk about the head first. The head, the fit's great, it's fairly comfortable for the most part. I have a couple of gripes, but they're small. It looks beautiful. Like, they got the character down spot on, and we sat there literally for many sleepless nights making sure that she was exactly what she was supposed to be. So there was a lot of really good communication with the maker as far as appearance went and everything else. This was the first time that Just For Us had ever made a foam head that was a moving jaw. And being a maker myself that only does foam moving jaw heads, I've only made one resin-based moving jaw. I can tell you from personal experience, it is a very different monster. Very, very different. But they still handled it fairly well. I had to make one adjustment since they didn't account for how heavy the front of this face is. I had to put in an elastic band on the back of the head that's basically a counter pull that pulls this up and lets the movement of that actually show up. It's not perfect, but it's as good as it's gonna get. And I told them that I was doing it when I did it, so that was just a note to them, like, you need that extra pull in the back to make this really visible with foam, since it's not as sensitive as resin. My vision in this suit is awful, and I've told them that like a million times. They know how much I hate it. And I believe that's mostly because I'm so used to the way that I build my heads, where the entire back of the eye, which my eyes are always 3D following, the back of my eyes are completely made out of mesh. So I have a very wide range of vision in all of my heads that I've made. I'm not used to this. I nickname it my 30-cent vision because I see about a quarter of space in this eye and a nickel of space in this eye. I also have a weird phenomenon where there's some mesh over here, so I can see my paw moving right now, but I don't know what it is and I don't know what it's gonna do. Same thing on the other side, right there. I can see that, but it's just like a movement of light. I can't actually tell what it is. I found that if I want to read something, I either have to really stick it up in my face and just kind of scan it, or just look out of the mouth. That's the easiest one, it's just looking out of the mouth. The mouth is very big, so it's not too big of a strain to do that. The ventilation, it is pretty good, honestly, for how bulky this head actually ended up. But it's a panda, you know, they're kind of like big old circles. So it was going to be bulky regardless. And I'm surprised at just how well it can actually breathe in this thing. The one big problem that I have that has persisted till now is the battery pack's placement for my fan. If I put the head on in the wrong way, it'll dig into my scalp and it hurts a lot. Even though it's mounted on a handmade balaclava inside, it still hurts if I just get it in just that right way and I have to take off the head and redo everything. That's really my biggest issue that I have at the moment, because funnily enough, even though my vision sucks ass, I have been able to navigate crowded spaces, small apartments, and a rave floor with this vision without killing myself. Which is impressive as far as I'm concerned, because I didn't think I'd be able to do any of that. So the fact that I was able to adjust makes the vision, although annoying, not dangerous, and it doesn't bother me so much anymore. One thing I will note about when the head was being constructed was that I had initially commissioned for following resin eyes. And I got an well, no, it wasn't an email. That was... I'll explain the entire communication process in a moment, but at some point, we stopped using email and started talking on Telegram, which became our exclusive form of communication once we started doing that. And they just sent me a message one day saying, hey, this is gonna be weird, but roll with me with it, and sent me a picture, and I'll show you guys, of silver donuts. And I'm sitting here going, okay, you're gonna have to explain what's going on here, because I don't get it. And then they sent me to Casplay's website. Casplay is the maker who actually makes these eye blanks. And then I kind of learned what was being decided here. I'm sitting going, well, they're not going to move like I wanted them to, but damn, they look gorgeous. And they do. Photos and the camera do not do them justice. They look beautiful, and also because they're in true 3D, they have this real quality to them. I can't explain it. It's just, it's gorgeous. And honestly, it was a sacrifice I was okay with. Once it was explained to me. And I had the option at any point in time to tell them not to use these eyes. But not only were they gorgeous, they were also the size I wanted them to be. Which, when it comes to resin domes, those can be pretty hard to get. So, it worked out for everyone in the end. And I have an absolutely gorgeous suit to thank for it. As far as design goes, the one thing I don't like, and like I said, I've told the maker about all this, but this is the one thing that still bugs me to this day. The amount of airbrushing. I specifically asked for no airbrushing at all unless it was 100% necessary. And when I got the head, I was very disappointed to see how much airbrushing is actually on this suit. Particularly in areas where I don't think it should have been put at all, regardless. Particularly the markings that she has on the back of her ears. I don't feel that that should have been airbrushed. I understand the reasoning. Apparently she has issues with making markings even through sewing alone, which I understand a lot of people have that problem. So the airbrushing compensates for it, and I'm sitting here going, alright, I understand, but these are the back of the ear markings, why? So that's just had to be a reality I have to deal with, because I'm used to just flexing an entire head, and I can't do that with this one. And it's kind of frustrating, I'm not gonna lie. That's, if I were to be truly upset about one thing with this suit, it would be that. It would be the amount of airbrushing. Okay, so let's move on from the head and get into, let's see, what's next? Next we have the hands and the feet. My feet were made by Libido Works, so I'm only wearing them to make the suit complete. I don't even know if you can see them. But they were made by Libido Works, and I'll probably be doing like a big mass review on Libido Works at some point, because I've commissioned so much stuff from them, it's stupid at this point. But yeah, those are made by Libido Works, so they don't really count. The only reason why I'm bringing them up is because we had a funky issue where the sparkle fur that Libido Works used for the feet is different from the sparkle fur that Just For Us used on the black, and we didn't know it until it was too late. So, that's a thing, and I've actually incorporated the two different types of sparkle fur into her design. So, it's okay, it's a happy accident at this point, but still a design note. For those who want to commission any maker, if you have parts that already exist, make 100% sure what furs were used so you can make a match. It can get stupid real fast. As far as the fit of the paws go, we initially bought DVC claws from DVC, and they got stolen in the mail. So we decided to just make our own extraordinarily glittery epoxy claws, which are beautiful and totally fabulous, but are heavy as hell. My fingers hurt right now. So what we did as a compromise was, because they also messed up the paw pads by making minky paw pads instead of vinyl, they decided that they were just going to make me an entirely new set of hands, which will not only have vinyl paw pads and claws from DVC like I initially asked, which did get there this time, but they'll also include escape holes for my fingers. Other ones will be the more anthro hands, where I can use them in meets and be able to look after myself without a handler, essentially. These are going to be my performance hands once those come in, where I'm only going to use these probably around performing for kids or just in public in general, to give myself more of that true bear look. As far as the fit goes, because of the weight of the claws, the hands initially were falling off. So that was another edit I had to make, was I had to put elastic in the wrists. And it's all the way up here on the hands, because that's where my wrists actually are. So these are very massive hands, but she's a bear, so that was proper. Other than that, the hands are super comfortable, they're really cute, and I like them a lot. I'll also mention really quick about the sleeves and the tail. Both are perfectly fine. Here's the tail. The sleeves, the only adjustment I had to do was I shortened the shoulder strap just a little bit, because of my own personal comfort opinions. But the tail, I've had to do nothing with this. It's absolutely wonderful. It's floofy, it's bouncy, it's cuddly, and it's also tiny, so there's really not much I can say about it. So now I'm sure that many of you are wondering about the communication, what happened, why did my suit take 2 years to make? Well, here we go! Initially, like I said earlier, I did not contact Just For Us. They contacted me. And at the time, I didn't know anything about what was going on with them, and neither did anyone else. After I had commissioned them, like a month or so afterwards, things were going pretty steadily. I didn't know why they were working on my project so soon, but they started fleshing out the head base right away, and then things started to get a little weird. They started putting out announcements about their health, about being evicted, and I was sitting here wondering what's going on, but I will give them this. Through everything that happened, and there's been a lot of things that happened, and I won't get into their personal lives, but communication has been very steady. They've been really good about that. And even now, still are. I became very good friends with them over all this time, and it doesn't matter if I message them over some sort of stupid friend shit, or like the paws that I'm making, or something else that I bought from them. They have always responded as soon as they possibly could. The communication with them is absolutely fantastic. The main problem became their personal issues and how their life was affecting the work. And Just For Us and I have talked extensively about this, and also how they could improve, and all that fun stuff. But the initial contact, they were the ones who instigated it. I didn't know what was going on. At the time I commissioned them, I was under the impression that I would get the suit by summer of 2017. That came and went. I asked them if they could have her done for Howlers last year. Came and went. Was it Howlers or was it Ace? I wasn't sure. I'm not sure. But I know that I asked if they could complete the suit for one of those events. Came and went. They were able, though, to get the suit to me for my birthday. And man, that was a busy couple of months getting everything done. Because they worked so hard and so fast to get the suit done in those last couple of months, there were a couple of like superficial things I had to fix. There were a couple of bald spots on the face. The nose and the claws had to be sealed up a little bit more. But that was more just from rushing than a quality issue. And, you know, it had gotten to the point where they were upset that they had taken so long to get my suit done, especially with how patient I had been with them. And I understood. I'm a very patient person at the end of the day. So the fact that they worked so hard to get it out to me it meant a lot at that point, especially because we had become close in this 2-year span of absolute nonsense. The email communication was not as reliable as Telegram, and although they have a Trello now for suit stuff, it's not as updated as it should be. And they know that, and they're working on it. Right now, I would say, overall, they're a great person to commission. Absolutely. But I would personally wait until they have their life together. And I even talked to them about it before making this review, and that's what they said too. Essentially, there were improvements in medical health and mental health and stability at home. And recently they just got an assistant as well to help them out, because this individual works alone, as do many makers. So when some sort of medical problem starts occurring, or like just recently they went through this whole process with a lot of doctors to get things straightened out. I've been through that kind of thing myself. When that starts happening, there's almost no time for anything else in your life. You're so stuck in the medical fiasco. And in periods like that, work slows down. Wait until all that's straightened out. Wait for their queue to straighten out. And things should be fine after that. They took on too many commissions. I was one of them. I was a commission that they were using because of eviction issues and other things. And they didn't tell me that. And we've since, made up for it and everything is fine now. But that did happen. I'm not going to say that I wasn't a little bit salty about that when I first heard it. But they know that. They know how many times I've got worried during this whole process. But every single time they've communicated with me, and we made sure that we were on the same page, which I feel is the most important thing. And as for the suit as a whole, I love her. She's well made. We've only had a couple of issues, most of them caused by the rush to get her to me by my birthday. And the only other things I have problems with, like the vision, it's just unfamiliarity. Like I said, the only thing I really have an issue with, and the only thing that still bugs me, and there's nothing I can do about it, is the amount of airbrushing on the suit. I didn't want it, but that's what I got, and I'm just kind of living with it at this point. And they're perfectly aware that I'm not happy about it. But they explained to me why they did it, and I understand the reasoning, but just because I understand it doesn't mean I have to like it, and that's just kind of where that ended up. Just because I get it doesn't mean that I have to like it. I would recommend that if you are not a fan of airbrushing, don't commission just for us. They will airbrush the suit. And they even stated to me that they're going to be changing their policies to say that they always do airbrushing on suits. Like, it's not optional. Which I perfectly accept. Other makers do the same thing. If that had been in their policies initially, I might not have commissioned them, I'll be honest. But it wasn't, and they did, for the most part, leave out a lot of airbrushing that they could have done. So I appreciate them using restraint, but I feel like more could have been used. Other than that, the quality it's absolutely phenomenal. I haven't had any, like, pop seams or anything like that. Like, nothing's actually gone wrong. Just some cosmetic fixes that weren't even 100% necessary, but I did them because I felt like it and I can. So, yeah, in general, my conclusion is, once Just For Us gets their life together and their queue together and all their outstanding commissions are taken care of, I highly recommend commissioning them. The price is fantastic for the quality that these suits actually are. I would also say that you might want to have a little bit of patience if you're going to commission this maker, because you never know what is going to go wrong in someone's life. And that is important to keep in mind. If you have a maker who may have medical issues during the time span of your commission, you should keep that in mind. Also, just as a note, they do have a dog and a cat, so even though the dog and the cat are not allowed to, like, roll in the materials, there is no way to keep them out of the workspace, because the workspace is literally their living room. I'm not even joking. So, that's just how that is. So if you're allergic to animals, it might be a bit of a turnoff, but my mother is deathly allergic to animals, and this suit being in the house has not caused any problems whatsoever to someone who literally can't be within, like, 10 feet of a dog. So, you know, take that for what you will. Whether or not you want to risk it, that's up to you. But yeah, in the end, I'm very happy with the suit. I feel like I made the right choice in who I commissioned. And I feel that they took the time to build the character the way that she should be represented. And as far as I'm concerned, that's one of the most important things. A maker who actually cares about the project and takes the time to sit there and get it done. Even if it was done through many a night of insomnia. I can't. So many mornings of getting up at like 2 in the morning to check Telegram. That was fun. But I'm not saying that's the norm. That was just my experience. We also like shitpost half the time during that. So, like I said, we became pretty good friends during the course of all this. So even with all the problems with the commission, there's no bad blood there at all. I'm not upset with them for what happened. It happened. And that doesn't bother me. So before anyone starts going in the comments going, you waited 2 years for a commission, that's ridiculous. It really isn't, especially if the maker is in communication with you. And that's just my opinion. So, but, you know, I make suits myself. I know how difficult these things are, and I know how long it can really take. So, they worked the best with what they had. They tried a bunch of new things, and in the end, I think you guys would agree with me, the product is definitely absolutely fantastic. So with that, draw your own conclusions, but I highly recommend Just For Us once they get their shit straight. And whenever you're watching this, because I know you're going to, hi. So, bye guys!